Have you heard that Hollywood essentially is shut down right now? Not only are the writers on strike, but now the actors and SAG-AFTRA specifically are on strike. And I don't think this has happened for like 50 years. So this is a pretty big deal. And that means events are being shut down, conventions are no longer happening, productions are being stalled, and they want to get paid. So we'll talk about it later in the show. How you guys doing? Welcome back. I'm top music attorney Miss Crystal, and I'm going to teach you all about the music business, scaling yourself to six figures and beyond, and answering your questions live. So we are live right now with the gavel. Guys, you do such a nice job of reminding me about this later in the show. So I actually have it ready to go right now. And I'm going to do my very best to remember to use it because it helps to break up the segments. Yeah, so what is it? San Diego Comic-Con. It's still happening, but I think it was that 70s show. There's some panels. So basically, with SAG-AFTRA, there's all kinds of rules, right? You're not allowed to work in general on non-SAG-AFTRA productions, but they're on strike. Okay, so this is a huge deal, and we're going to talk about it. Anyway, as you guys are filing in the chat, let me know where you're checking in from and what time is it. Hey, that's right. We got the gavel, son. And there's other stuff going on. I don't know if we're going to cover this, but Selena, her dad basically is bringing a lawsuit against a cruise line that's using her likeness and her trademarks. So we may or may not cover it later in the show. We kind of keep tabs on what's going on with her estate because it's just very interesting to see what happens when you are a huge celebrity and what happens after you pass. So anyway, there's updates and the news about that as well. Hey, hello to London. How's the weather? We are melting right now, slowly but surely in Arizona. In fact, I have a music video shoot tomorrow, and the location that we're shooting in does not have air. And it's like 114 degrees. So I think we're going to do this a little bit later in the day, but who knows? We may just all pass out, and that's fun too. All right. So in any case, we have a lot that we're going to go over. Now, as far as just some things I want to talk to you guys about, we always talk about copyrights, right? We discuss copyrights, intellectual property in general, trademarks. And something I saw that was pretty interesting was the question of when is it too late to copyright? Okay, so when have you kind of screwed yourself? Because I know those of you watching, you may not have copyrighted all your things, right? Might be music, instrumental, if you're a beat maker, whatever it is, lyrics. So there might be some stuff that you haven't copyrighted. And the question is, when is it too late to copyright your music and other creative works? Okay. And also, this is another one of those stories we may or may not cover, but Aretha Franklin, she passed, and there was like this 5-year long battle kind of going in to figure out what was going to happen with her estate. We saw this with Prince, right? So when he passed, he did not have a will. It's just shocking when you have these massive estates. I think for Aretha Franklin, her estate is something like $18 million. And so what was interesting is that they ended up finding a handwritten will under her mattress. And so it was kind of interesting to see what happened. So we might touch on it a little bit later in the show. We'll bring in that Orko, and we're going to get into all the things. So let me run the intro, and we'll be right back. Hi guys, I'm top music attorney Miss Crystal. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Now, if you guys are looking for help with your music business, your businesses in general, the best way to get in touch with me is just to DM me on Instagram, Top Music Attorney. Let me know what you're up to. And for my actual like one-on-one students that I work with, you now can apply. I'm not just taking all applications. I have to actually like interview everyone. So if you are interested in doing that and learning about the music business and getting your all the things, career and business and all that, kind of to the next level, I can help you out. Just apply. You can go to topmusicattorney.com. All right, so we're broadcasting all the places. Richard on YouTube. So make sure you guys come over to YouTube for Top Music Attorney. Those hot Arizona shoots. I know those all too well. Modeling and acting in the Valley is cheap, but comes with heat. Yes. I had this music video that I did for my Miss Crystal project, and it was a cover song. So Cruel Summer, originally by Bananarama. And we shot this in Arizona in the middle of summer, and the actual shoot was predominantly outside at like 1 p.m. So it was one of the most intense. I don't know. I have a lot of variety in the intensiveness of video productions that I have personally done, from being just freezing in water for hours and hours and hours, or outside in like very cold weather, you know, to heat. So anyway, this is what it takes in the business. You need to tough it out. So as we're doing this, make sure you drop your questions in the chat, and of course, let us know where you're checking in from and what time is it. All right, so quick kind of new stuff. I'm like I was saying, I'm shooting this music video tomorrow, and I'm doing this array of Disney covers right now, and they're like dark pop interpretations. So I did one for Cinderella, which is out on Miss Crystal YouTube. And, that Orko produced the instrumental. So it's a very like dark interpretation of the song. I've never heard anyone do anything quite like what we do as far as in interpreting these songs. Oh, there you go. Look at that. The cover art just magically appeared. And so now we're doing the next one. So we're still in the promotional cycle for this song. You'll see it if you follow any of my Miss Crystal social media profiles. But now, as we move into the next one, we're shooting the actual video tomorrow, so we can basically start gearing up to release the song. And this one's going to be a lot more playful, because at least in the Cinderella one, I'm kind of more, like trying to be pretty and princess-esque. And it's going to be very different for the next one. So that's going to be an intentional kind of weird thing, and we'll just see what happens. Dark says he wants to get into... Oh, wait. Maybe not he or she. I don't know. Let me know. You want to get into studying entertainment law. I love it. Do it. I had a client tell me one time, and he's like, I'm going to law school. And, he hires a lot of attorneys, and we do a ton of work together. And my thought of it, I was like, cool. If you can make the time for it and you can afford that, just do it. Why not? That's literally why I went to law school. I had no intention of practicing. I had no intention of becoming an attorney. And then I was like, might as well take the bar. And then I was like, might as well start a law firm. And here we are. But anyway, do it. I encourage you. So we're going to bring in that Orko in a bit, but I want to give you guys some value. So I had kind of hinted, we're going to talk about when is it too late to get a copyright. Okay. And this could be very well, I'm like moving things around right now, so please excuse me, but this could very well be, let me see if you guys can see this. Yep. Oops. There we go. This could be the last time we do the show in this format, because I kind of want to switch things up starting next week. So we'll see if that Orko wants to talk about it a little bit, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. All right. So when is it too late to get your copyright? And more importantly, can you actually lose the right to copyright your music if you wait too long? So this is very important for artists and producers and anyone who's making creative stuff in the music business. So, part of kind of my online programs and one-on-one trainings that I do with students about helping them with their careers, staying legally protected, making money, and doing all the things, we talk about all the stuff having to do with protecting your intellectual property, copyrights and trademarks and contracts. And so when it gets to discussing about copyright, well, can you kind of screw yourself by waiting too long? And the answer is in this video. Okay. So let me go through, the crucial considerations that you have to explore first and foremost in regards to copywriting. We have to first talk about kind of the power of getting that copyright protection. Okay. But first, what you need to know is that you do have copyright protection as soon as you make the thing. So there is a difference here. Please pay attention. When you make your creative work, right? So let's say I'm at the piano, I put down some chords, I'm singing into my phone, I'm recording and I'm kind of demoing it out. Even at that stage, I actually have copyright protection in my melodies, my words, in my chord progressions, right? So I'm already protected at that level. And that's the great news. And that's why copyright law does protect you just at kind of like a standard baseline. All right. But then we go into, well, there is a crucial role with actually getting a registration. So the registration, so because this seems to be a big confusion point for clients who contact my office. If you, let's say, upload your song or your lyrics to a website, if you mail it to yourself in the mail and it's like the poor man's copyright thing, like all of this is not official copyright registrations. Okay. Instead you have to do is you have to actually register through the Library of Congress, which is at copyright.gov, and you can just do it online. Great news. But there's a crucial reason why you have to do that. Okay. Because what it does is it's going to actually solidify your ownership because it creates a piece of paper. You get a registration through the Copyright Office with that piece of paper that becomes your evidence of enforcing your rights later on when someone decides to try and steal your lyrics and instrumental and all the things. Okay. So then moving on to kind of the erosion of rights over time. Okay, so you kind of have this window of opportunity to get all of the premium rights that come with copyright protection with the registration. Okay, and the longer that you wait, the more that opportunity closes. All right. So, what you need to do is you need to actually act quickly to get your stuff registered and to do it through the Copyright Office. Now, if you guys you're holding on and if you're confused at any point in this, please leave a comment down below and I will clarify for you because this stuff is so very, very important. So what you're going to do is that you're actually going to maximize your legal protection by acting swiftly. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to open the opportunity to get additional legal protections through things like statutory damages and attorney's fees. So what happens is if you wait too long, you will lose some of these rights that come with copyright protection. Now you got to do it one way or another. All right. If you're watching this video and you have stuff that you, should have registered 10 years ago, you likely have more limited protection with copyright, but you still need to do it. Because in order to enforce your rights in a court of law, in order to do any of the things you got to do to protect against infringement, you need to have the registration. Very simple. So then let's talk about what's the price of missing this opportunity window of when you need to actually register. Okay, so the opportunity cost ends up being that you, let's say at some point, get a great licensing deal, or you have a collaboration, or at some point, someone wants to purchase your music. These are all things that often happen, not just as you're kind of going along in your career, but if you have a song that does really well and a label comes in, is like, great, I want to purchase the song, I want to re-release the song, all this stuff is super great. Not super great if you have not done your due diligence and actually registered your music. And, I've had this happen before when I'm doing catalog sales. So meaning we're selling music catalogs, and that step of just registering all of the copyrights were never done. All of a sudden now we've hampered the deal. We either lose the deal or it ends up causing a lot of delay, which can, in effect, end up losing the deal. So now that we've kind of explored why you have to take care and to actually go that extra step to register all of your copyrights, now the burning question is, well, when is it too late for you to register the copyright for your music? Now, the truth is that there isn't really this specific cutoff point, right? So to my earlier point, if you've waited 10 years, 15 years, whatever, you still got to do it. But again, the point that I'm making is that your rights become more limited over time and because of your delay. All right. So what I want to plant the seed in for you guys is just to say there's never too early of a time. Let's go with that. There's never too early of a time for you to go and get your copyright registration. And in fact, you can file for copyright protection before your music has even come out. Okay. So my kind of rule of thumb is make sure you have filed for copyright registration through copyright.gov no later than when the song has actually come out. If you do it beforehand, great, kudos to you, but I would not wait any longer than that because, again, your window of opportunity is gonna start to close. So, on the channel, I do a ton of videos. We're talking about copyright and trademark and contracts and all the things that you have to know in order to really protect yourself and to protect your money. I mean, at the end of the day, what are we talking about here? It's protecting your money. That's what happens when you get into trouble, when you have a breach of contract, when someone comes after you. We're talking about monetary damages. So if you found this video helpful, you definitely want to subscribe to the channel, turn on this bell notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. And if you need help, message me on Top Music Attorney on Instagram and let me know what you're up to. Hey, I did it. It's so funny. As we go through these, because I'm trying to keep this very concise for you guys. So I have my like little outlines and, I'm just kind of freestyling most of this, but I always have to remember the gavel at the end. And that kind of closes the segment. I almost forgot at that time, but I got it. All right, back to the chat. So yeah, be sure you're dropping your questions because we're doing this live and I'm here to help. Neil, thank you very much. I'm glad you dig the song. On LinkedIn, Cassidy, glad you could be here. Don't forget to come join the fam on Top Music Attorney YouTube, of course. All right, Ghoul9, love the username. I have a question. I want to recreate something, and I want to use toys in it for a visual. How much can I get away with as far as using copyrighted toys? Great question. So I actually was answering this for a client yesterday because this particular client is doing something that has characters in it. So when it comes to toys and characters, the question is, well, do we need to copyright it or do we need to trademark it? Now, you're going a little different of direction as well. How much can I get away with as far as using it? So it depends, okay? So if you're using like the way that the toy works, like the patent of it, the technology, so to speak, or if you are using more of the way that it looks, okay? So now we're talking about more like a character. And since we're talking about Disney, right? So we have like the Little Mermaid, and you're like, hey, there's like the Little Mermaid character, and I'm going to put it on a t-shirt, or I'm going to adapt it and make it to a different kind of, Barbie doll or something like that. It, in that case, may be a violation of both trademark and copyright, and this is how it works. So there would be copyright in the character as far as the design, right? The stenciling, the whole makeup of that particular character. And so if you made a new version of it, it could be argued that it's a derivative work, okay? It's something that is based on the original, and copyright carries with derivative works. So it would be, Disney is not going to be too happy about it, and then you could expose yourself to liability. And what they're going to do is what they always do. They'll knock on your door with their big lawyer hand, and they'll say, hey, any money that you've made, disgorgement of profits, right? So meaning to take all your money, so disgorgement of profits, and then also you have to cease and desist. That's the nice version. They can go in a little bit harder on that. So that's copyright. On the trademark side, we can trademark when we have things like toys. We have actual goods that we're selling. And there now is a name, the Little Mermaid, that's associated with that. So if you had, instead of red hair, it's blue hair, and it's like the little blue mermaid. I don't know. I can't think of something more creative than that. But anyway, so now we're going after you not only for copyright infringement, but potentially trademark infringement as well, because you're using a name that is substantially similar for something that is substantially similar to what they're selling, which would be toys. That's my spiel. Hopefully you found that helpful. Oh, using sounds from, this is why it's helpful for me to have like a chat here. It would be helpful if I looked at it. So your question was using sounds from toys. Okay, we're going a different direction. We're doing all the hypotheticals, kids. This is hypothetical class. So then if you were using sounds from the toys, actually trademark would apply in the analysis because a sound can be trademarked, right? And so if you're using the sound, there are considerations in that realm, but really I would just go to sample, right? If you're using a sound that is owned by someone else, then you are sampling the, I wouldn't say music, but the copyrighted content by someone else. You're adapting it into your thing, and they can still come after you for copyright infringement. So then what people try to do, obviously, if you're taking like a splice, sound, and you don't want to run into some of the commercial use issues that a lot of producers do with that, they will try, tweaking it, right? So you will transpose it, you might pitch it, and that may or may not work. So not my suggestion, because even if you are adapting in some kind of way, you're still sampling it, honey. Okay? That's how it works. All right, hopefully I covered your question and then some, because we just went a little off tangent there. Oh yeah, so here's your follow-up. You were saying, let's say I want to use a Thomas the Tank Engine toy, going in loop as part of it. Could I get sued? Yeah. Yeah, you could. You could. And just remember, we're talking about, I always use the speeding analogy because, I don't know, it's the best one I can come up with. Copyright and use of copyright can result in statutory damages, which means it's just set by law. They just said, if you do the thing, this is what happens. So like with speeding, even if you didn't know, you got caught, you were speeding, now you're going to jail. That's not what happens, but you get my point. All right, so anyway, I hope you guys found that helpful. If you're checking in right now, where are you checking in from, and what time is it? You filed what for your label? Duke Williams? You have to file something. If you are going to set up as a record label, you have to make sure that you are registering your entity, and you really should not just run your label as an individual, guys. Listen to me on this. If you run your company just as an individual human being on this earth, that's wonderful. But what can happen is, for every contract that you sign with someone on your label, right? Your staff, your employees, your contractors, your artists, brand deals that you do. If you do all these contracts as an individual, you are individually liable for any problems that come up, such as breaches of contract. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to set up a limited liability company. Okay. Don't go for a corporation. You're not there yet. I'm just going to cut to the chase. You need to talk to your accountant about why and all the tax things, but you're just going to do a limited liability company. Then that creates this beautiful liability shield around you, so that you, in the instance you get sued, they're not coming to you personally. They're coming to your company and whatever's in the company business accounts, all the things. All right. So in any case, let's keep going. Hey, checking in, 6 p.m., El Paso. Jonathan's checking in, Denver. Lovely. I hope you guys are not melting quite as much as me. So we're going to bring in that Orko now. And there
he is. Hey, what's good, everybody?
So if we decide to start the show next week with just you and I, on screen, which is what we're talking about. I'm like, I bring in the show, I do an overview. It's just me for a while, and that's great. But I kind of am thinking I want to start the show with him moving forward. For those of you watching, let me know what you think about that. Do you love that Orko coming on? Give us some feedback.
Oh no.
Is he like
Oh, here it comes.
Partially, besides me, because I know you love me and I know I'm fabulous. But do you love him, and would you like to see him on like right away at the beginning of the show? Leave your thoughts in the comments. All right, so what's up?
What's good? I'm real excited about this music video that we're going to be shooting tomorrow for our new song. I'm glad that I saw some comments in there, some good feedback on it. I'm just real excited, man. We've been getting a lot of stuff done. If you are watching from another platform, if you're watching from LinkedIn or from Facebook, we are over here on YouTube. So come over to join the community over here. This is where we broadcast from. We are releasing content like crazy right now. Like we've never been so much like output. Like I almost can't even keep up with it. To be honest, I really can't even keep up with it. But it's been really good, and the videos has just been incredible. So I invite you to go take a look at them. We're doing all kinds of help for your label and just your career in general.
That's right. All right, and there was a follow-up question. If you want to set up a consultation with me to talk about your career in entertainment law, I'll tell you what, let me put my assistant's email in the chat. Now, for those of you who are watching later on, so there you go. That's my assistant's email address, and so you can email him and set up a time. But for anyone watching this later, if you ever want to just contact me through my law office, it's Delgado Entertainment Law. So just Google us, and then you can send me a message through our contact form, and I'd be happy to help you.
And if you're watching on a replay, I usually pin it to the comments, so you'll see it on the first comment as well.
Hey, you're welcome, Ghoul9. All right, perfect. So we got some news stories. I teased some of the things we're probably not going to talk about. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it.
See how it goes.
It's
It's going to be a good show because I'm telling you, like these stories is this Hollywood strike that's going on. This is affecting everybody right now, and it's gonna affect everybody. Everybody has opinions on it. Everybody has thoughts on it. I have some of my own. I know you have some of your own. So I think this is going to be a good conversation. And Sarah Silverman is really going to bat against AI, going against the open AI and Meta. So that's going to be interesting too. So I'm real excited about these conversations we're about to have.
all right, so I'm gonna say this a different way. All right, guys, we're trying new things right now, so bear with us. All right, you ready? Did you hear Sarah Silverman? So she's like joining forces with Christopher Golden and Richard Cadre. Hopefully I said that right. But basically to sue Meta and OpenAI, which is of course the maker of ChatGPT. So this is such an insanely hot topic, and I'm so excited to talk about this because the lawsuit essentially deals with this topic we keep discussing. When AI goes in and analyzes all the copyrighted stuff, the books, right, the posts, it looks at artwork, it's doing all of the analysis to then create something new for you when you put in ChatGPT, hey, write me a script, hey, write me a blog post. So is that a derivative work? Well, Sarah Silverman and her co-plaintiffs, they say absolutely, and they want a decision of this. So they've made this a class action, or they're trying to anyway. Yeah. So let me go through this a little bit. They filed in San Francisco federal court. They're alleging the AI language model was developed by these companies and was trained on their copyrighted material. They're making this bigger, of course, because it's trained on lots of copyrighted material. Okay. And so the lawsuit is seeking the class action status to aim to address this very controversial topic.
Yeah, no, this is something that we have been covering a lot on this channel as far as dealing with AI, musicians getting into it, taking people's voices. And the thing of it is, while you could go in there and go, write me a stand-up routine of Sarah, like in the style of Sarah Silverman, make it, give me like 5 jokes around the topic of just buying a new car. I don't know, just whatever it is. And while it's not there yet as to truly capturing something, it's on its way because AI is just developing at such a rapid rate that it is just insane how far it goes.
Yeah, so Sarah Silverman, the other authors, they're just alleging that they didn't consent to their works being used for purposes of ChatGPT or anything else. Now, I think in the complaint, because they named Meta, right? Meta is the owner of Facebook and Instagram and Threads and WhatsApp. Okay, so but Meta, and so basically saying that they were using the author's copyrighted stuff, and it was kind of on this platform, which then permitted access without credit, without compensation. So that's my general understanding of it.
And the thing of it is, with Meta, and then I think I just saw that Elon Musk is starting his own like AI company, or he's going real hard on something. And the thing about Meta and Twitter is they have your information, like just from being on all these apps. It's not just artists that these major artists that are just getting whatever. All of our information has in Meta and Twitter and all of these companies. That was a big controversy that we were seeing with Threads, is when people were jumping over there. It's just there was all these new kind of permissions and stuff that they were taking, and just the information. It was a great way for them to kind of compile all the information and add it in new. Don't think that we're not being analyzed. You know what I mean? It's all being tools. That's probably the reason why Elon Musk bought Twitter, is so he can acquire everybody's user information and stuff, so he can incorporate it into his AI.
So
So
are you saying it's happening anyway, so everyone just needs to get on board?
no, I think I don't even know why that I was going on that rant. More just as like you just see a lot of things. You know, you hear a lot of things about TikTok and harvesting information in China and all this stuff. And it's like all this, you're seeing it in real time with American companies. It's not. It's just the way that it is. And at this point, I mean, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook, I mean, you're already kind of you're in there. You're in. So it's just a matter of what they do. But it's pretty
Hey,
crazy.
Aaron makes a very good point. So at this point in history, doesn't everything become remixed? Is anything ever really original?
Well, I
Hey,
mean,
that's a good point.
yeah.
Now, obviously, I think that there is a line. It's an ever-moving line, and, even today I'm talking to a client, and I'm just expressing, like, basically the effectiveness of marketing
Right.
with remixes, right? So when DJs and producers remix music, taking someone else's copyrighted stuff and then
Yeah.
putting it into something new that they developed, it's really smart for marketing. You can
Right.
then associate yourself with top 40 music and then
Mhm.
show your skill as a producer and this and that. Under copyright law, that's actually a copyright violation unless that particular songwriter, label, publisher gave you permission.
Right.
It technically is a violation of copyright law. So then there's the, well, you can just do it and
It's
then
the
see what
Wild
happens.
West. It's the
It's
Wild West on the
yeah,
internet right now, and there's
yeah.
no way that, the law is gonna be able to keep up with everything. I think if what we're seeing here, on AI, I heard today I heard this. I'm sure you guys have all heard it or whatever, it's gone viral or whatever. Johnny Cash singing Barbie Girl. Like, I invite you to all go look. It sounds incredible. It actually sounds really good. It sounds just like Johnny Cash. He's singing Barbie Girl.
I
It's
might I
crazy.
might have to look it up right now. I think we're gonna get copyright claims if I
But
do, but
it's the Wild West, and every person that's on has a podcast or has a Instagram page or whatever, they're all telling you to do like just go and take these things and just remix them and for your reels when they're giving you marketing advice and they're telling you all this stuff because the law hasn't caught up to it. Like there is going to be some kind of day of reckoning, or there's going to be some kind of something. And even when they're talking about the things that Sarah Silverman is looking for, they want some kind of protection, or if they're going to be analyzing some kind of compensation, but like how is that going to work? Like so you're just like I don't know. This is going to tie into when we start talking in our next story about the Hollywood strike, that's a writer strike, and how AI is hardcore affecting it. It is changing the world. But if Sarah Silverman can gain some traction and we can get people take this seriously and everybody kind of rallies around these people, not like, oh, the Hollywood elite, these actors and these people, the rich people. We'll get into that more later, but it's the law is it's going to affect you. Everything is going to affect you, how much AI can get away with. So laws need to be set, compensation, or figuring out what they can regulate or not. But I'll also say, finally, on this for me right now is I know I'm going long winded. I'm very passionate
this
about this.
is this is this is how our actual
This
conversations
is this
go.
is
It's
all
more like a what we both do this to each other. We
yeah,
go on
totally
long winds
long
like
tangent.
word vomit.
But I will
Go
say
ahead.
this. I will say this thing. Sarah Silverman is incredibly brave. Now listen to what I'm saying. Sarah Silverman is incredibly brave going up against these giants that control AI, that can, make people say whatever they want them to say, where they are literally have control of their information to go. Like, I'm not saying that, they're going to retaliate something AI kind of campaign or something, but you're going against not only people that are literally running social media, which you can argue is literally ruling the country and the world. I think she's incredibly brave to be going up against them and being so vocal about it. And I would like to see a rally behind it.
Yeah, well, my understanding is that this lawsuit had already been filed, and she's now joining with the other authors. But in any case, I think for all of them, I think that's a fair enough point. And I think all of this is all. I just keep kicking the camera. Sorry, guys. I think all of this is going to force OpenAI, and so the CEO Sam Altman is going to force them to actually acknowledge the issue because it's a problem, right? So we talked about this before. Really, Chat GPT kind of started taking over the planet however many months ago. before then we were talking about these apps that you could do that were going viral and they're so fun, where you
Right.
could have portraits of yourself made
Right.
by the app. And then the issue that came out was, well, isn't this copyright infringement? Because they were finding that the app seemed to be taking from real people's
Right.
artwork. And they could even see stuff like signatures from the original artwork was kind of like still embedded in the new portrait created. And so, one of the biggest issues is that, for there to be a copyrightable piece of work, it
Right.
has to be created by a human. So then the connection is, well, if this is something created from someone else's work, it's a little bit easier. But here with ChatGPT and OpenAI, if it's just studying your stuff to learn about it, it's not really derivative works. It's not really copyright infringement. It's gray at best. And at least that's what's being argued.
Yeah, it's what it is it's scary. And the thing of it is when pretty soon they're gonna figure it out. I mean, you hit it on the head. This has been a new thing that's been kind of opened up to the public. And look how good it is already. I saw a picture of Michelle Thomas, and I don't know if anybody knows who she was on Family Matters. This picture was going kind of whatever too. She played Myra on Family Matters, like the one that was really into Steve Urkel, but he was less into. Um, and this pictures, there was like a set of pictures that was created that was done in AI. I could not tell the difference. I thought they were real pictures of her. They looked so unbelievably incredible. And it's just how good that it is. And how much that it's already being used, like in just the everyday stuff, and you're not even noticing that it's there. Um,
Right. Right. No, and
so
to your point, I mean, as far as how much it's influencing our culture without us even really knowing, right?
it
So, for
is.
example, a lot of YouTubers are now using it for their titles. A lot of songwriters are using it to help create and just have a starting
Lyrics.
place for songs, and it's influencing and crafting. And so almost, to the point where now we're kind of noticing where stuff looks like it was created by AI. So it's
But it's
pretty.
gonna be harder to tell because it's gonna keep getting better. The more that we use it, the more that we give it prompts, the more that it has access to Meta and Twitter, and the way that all of our writing styles are, because now it has access to, like, every single tweet that everybody has ever posted and who they are and what connection, and it's happening at lightning speeds because it's computers and these supercomputers. I don't know. But they gotta set some boundaries now. But at the end of the day, what kind of boundaries can they really set? You know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's these guys, I mean, they could put laws on it. They can do things, but I'm saying AI is here. The power of it is here. It's not going away. They could try to
well,
regulate it, but you're gonna see. I mean, we got elections coming up. Just be careful.
let's not get into
I
conspiracy
just have a
theories. So
whole no,
calm
I just have a
yourself,
whole
calm
thing
your
about AI lately. I'll tell you what.
but Aaron, your comment, he wonders if AI was asked to review the arts contracts if they could find a way out of this. Could AI countersue? No, that's pretty interesting. And in fact, there's stuff being developed and probably already in existence. It is already in existence where it can go in and read contracts and
Yep.
interpret them for you, and it's pretty amazing. So we're going to be following this lawsuit because right now they're looking for class certification. We'll see if they get that, and we'll keep you guys updated. All right. Boom. So let's move on. I was thinking, why don't we chitty chat about where's my we had Selena, we had Selena's father suing the cruise lines. We're not going to talk about that yet. I have a note. We might. Oh, right. It's not in this. That's why I can't find it. Oh, yeah. Hollywood's on strike. That's a good one. All right. So we changed up like last minute our show and the stories we were going to cover because this is a pretty big one.
Yeah.
In fact, let me go to this. All right. So, did you hear that Hollywood basically is shut down? And it's because the writer strike, right? So, the Writer Guild going on strike and saying, we're not going to work anymore, which happened around May of this year. Well, now the actors are
Yep.
also joining. So, SAG AFTRA is on strike. So, that means the writers and the actors are no longer going to work. And that's a pretty big deal. This hasn't happened in what, 50 years? And we're going to talk about it. So, what do you think? First and foremost, is this a good thing?
I think that, just like in the music industry, writers are incredibly underpaid. People kind of behind the, that are actually behind the scenes that are creating the stuff are kind of underpaid. So I understand. And, we were talking in another story about AI, as we always kind of do. And that's a big concern for these writers. And, and the actors are showing solidarity, and they're also concerned with AI. I mean, how many movies lately have you seen? And, it's just, they these actors are getting younger, like, you know what I mean? You have AI versions of actors and stuff like that. So that could also be a danger down the line. And they want their protections. They want to make sure that they're being compensated. So I'm into it.
Now we have to look at this from both standpoints, right? So me as an entertainment attorney and a business attorney, I represent a lot of businesses. The whole goal is to, for example, if you are a film company, if you are a studio, you have people to pay, things to do. So we don't
Yeah.
know what's going into these negotiations, but what we do know is that the writers in particular and the actors, they're saying we're underpaid, we are entitled to better streaming and better numbers, but they're not saying exactly what. Now, of course, this is because they're in negotiations.
No issues,
But
right.
on the flip side, we have people like, I don't know, Disney's CEO, Bob Iger, and he is voicing his concerns. And he said in an interview recently, he's like, this is a very disruptive force.
Hmm.
And, it's basically exacerbating issues that are already in the industry following COVID-19.
Already.
And so he's like, right now, we don't have this kind of money that they're asking for, and they're actually being unreasonable. So the fact that he's using words like unreasonable is interesting.
It's kind of, and he's catching a lot of flack because he just signed like a 2-year extension for like $54 million
Yeah.
over the next. So, when people have that kind of money and they're talking about what people should be entitled to, is one thing. Now, I will say that, I can't speak for all the other companies, but Disney has taken massive losses, and just from that's why Iger had to step back in, is because of what was going on with Disney Plus and all that kind of stuff, and all the money that they were kind of losing. And then Disney also takes on a lot of productions, and they got to pay for them, and they're trying to do these big budget things, and and then the executives got to get paid. But the thing that I feel bad about the most for these writer strike, it's not so much the writer and actor strike. It's not for so much for the more famous people that it's there's a lot of people in these actors and writers guilds, like people that don't have any money, that aren't working, that you've never heard of. They're just like, just doing small things, and when they get work, or maybe don't work for every, whatever, and they get their insurance and stuff from it. So it's like
Well,
those people.
right now they're not working, right? We're on
Right.
strike. So we have, for example, like the San Diego Comic-Con coming up. And so even for things like that, they're not allowed to go and do these panels
No
or do these
promotion.
appearances, which otherwise pay pretty well. This is a huge moneymaker with these Comic-Cons.
Well, and then, the movies themselves are gonna hurt because they can't go do the press junkets, they can't promote the
Sure.
movies, they can't go on these shows, and, when you're talking about Comic-Con, they had to rearrange, a lot of their schedules. They were gonna have the 70 shows, cast was gonna do a whole thing there, they can't be there. There like, a lot of panels are changing, and they're talking about having lookalikes to do stuff there, and I don't know what that's gonna be. But people need to get paid. But like I said, I'm worried about the when these productions stop. It's not just them, it's the caterers, it's the wardrobe
No.
people, it's all these people are going to be out of work. So to hear things now, Bob Iger doesn't, from Disney, the CEO of Disney, he doesn't represent all of Hollywood, you know, movie studios and stuff, but they
Right.
are, they all are in negotiations. And for him to use language like he was using kind of, right now, that doesn't unreasonable and disruptive forces. I don't think that is a step in the right direction of doing this. And in that interview, he was asked, like, is AI a concern, or should AI be a concern for these writers and these whatever that are on strike? Are you just going to just use AI? And he kind of just sidestepped the question, but
No, and I don't think that they could, maybe to a certain degree. But, he was also saying it's unrealistic because we, for example, just negotiated and finished successfully with the directors
right,
union, right? And so he's like, we've done this. We're not unreasonable or whatever. So that always brings me back to like I want to know what these damn terms are because, if an actor is what would the per diem that they're required to have back end revenues from streaming, all of this is very negotiable. So I don't know what it is that is being requested for him to then go and say, no, I think this is unreasonable. All right. So also because I think that Orko's face is frozen, I'm gonna end this segment, and we will continue to cover the strike. Is it just me, guys, or is he frozen for sure? Oh, yep. All right, there we go. I'm saving him. All right, so interesting stuff. For those of you who are checking in, hey, what are you doing? Where are you checking in from? What time is it? Let's see. On Facebook, they don't have this kind of money because they are choosing to lose money to build new streaming platforms and gain market share. It's similar to what's happening with music. Companies often trade profitable models that benefit stakeholders in, well, and I think you may have gotten cut off there. I'm not sure what the rest of that says. To build equity, creators need alignment through equity, not just payment at the margin. Artists need ownership. Yeah, and look, I mean, we can talk about the disparity when it comes to the music business, when it comes to the film industry, and there absolutely is. I mean, right now we're talking about SAG-AFTRA. We're talking about union approved production. We're not even talking about the independent productions. That's the amazing part here, where we're like, the SAG-AFTRA people can't go and work, the actors can't get work, the writers can't get work for SAG-AFTRA productions, right? But when you're an independent filmmaker, an independent actor or writer, it is really the wild, wild west. At least with, through the union, you have minimums and you have to, have certain conditions, for the work environment and things like that, hours worked. But I mean, it's pretty wild what we're seeing for those who aren't even with the union. So in any case, hopefully there will be a happy ending to this, and hopefully they do disclose, more of the terms of what's being demanded, because that's where I always get very curious. I go, when you have a union that represents hundreds of thousands, likely millions of people, a small shift obviously results in a big number, but we're talking about big companies, right? Even Disney in the billions of dollars. And yeah. So I don't know if that Orko is back. So let's bring him on in. There he is.
There I am.
You got frozen.
I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens.
It's all right. We're working this into the flow.
Did you? I missed some of it. Did you happen to mention also that this is the first time in 50 years that that they've come, the Writers Guild and SAG have come together on a writer strike? Like,
I think I mentioned that at the beginning of the segment.
yeah, and Ronald Reagan, he was an actor before he was president. Like, he was actually the president of SAG at that time, which is interesting little tidbit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so crazy stuff. And with that being said, I kind of want to talk about a few of the other stories that we had. I did gavel. I gavelled when your face was frozen.
I missed everything.
Yeah, no, I'm on top of it today, man.
You're
I
amazing.
got
amazing.
I got my notes. I got my gavel. Watch yourself.
Amazing. I love it. What are we doing now? Is that it? Is that the
All right,
show?
no,
Thanks, guys.
no. I kind of want to talk about Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
So did you hear there was a recent verdict with Aretha Franklin's disputed will? And this is kind of crazy because we're talking about what was a handwritten, scribbled, could
Right.
barely read legible will from 2014 that was found under her couch. Okay. And she actually had a different will from 2010 that was notarized and had all the things. And the reason why this is kind of interesting is because we had a conflicting will. But then also in most states, when it comes to your will, it has to be signed, it has to be notarized, there has to be witnesses, there's all kinds of things. And so the question was, well, if you have two wills, right? And, which one is going to be binding? The one that's notarized, the one that we for sure can say. And then also, it's all handwritten. Was it hers? Could someone else have, pretended and written it out? So anyway, let's chat about it. What happened in that case? Do you remember?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was just one of those things where neither one of the wills was prepared by a lawyer. She just kind of whatever. I don't know if you have the will there on your screen.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
But it is crazy. Like, I was trying to read it. Like, good luck. Like they had to bring in like a pharmacist to read that thing because it was a lot of pages of chicken scratch. But I mean, Aretha Franklin, just obviously absolute legend, is still killing it. Even today, like just with the streams that she still, generates each month because she's just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit.
Yeah,
She's
I
like the
started I started
queen,
listening to her catalog when I was
queen.
prepping for this. I'm just like, oh, just amazing. All right, so here's the will. Guys, let's not have this be your will, please. But you can just see it's a little difficult to see what's happening here. To whom it may concern, and being of it should say sound, so
On
sound
mine.
mind and my last testimony. So you see it's a little bit difficult. And then there's areas where it's just like, what's happening?
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of those things where they could definitely, could get a handwriting person analysis. I mean, if that's how that would be a very hard thing, I think, to forge, if it was actually being analyzed, because that's how she writes everything. So it's not about just being messy. I'm sure there's still an organized organization to that chaos that you just saw, but that was insane.
Yeah, so I
Um,
guess this was actually like a 5-year process. And so what happens is if you don't have a trust, and this is why it's really good to get a trust into place plus a will and have kind of your estate, is so that you don't your family, right, your heirs, they don't have to go through probate court. You have to go to probate even if you have a will. And if especially if you don't. Okay. So this thing went through probate because there was only a will and there was kind of this dispute over which one controls.
Yeah,
So
who
anyway,
controls it and how much they were gonna get. Then there was, like, all kinds of stipulations on the other will. Like, they had to like, her sons, in order to get their share, they had to attend, like, some, like, a business schools and complete them in order for them to get that, but the new one, I don't think had that, like, any kind of
yeah.
stipulations.
Yes, this was in a Michigan courtroom. There was an actual trial, so the jury did, and we won't. We'll tell you which one they decided on. But in any case, so the two sons
Yeah,
were basically looking at this because in the older will from 2010, it said that in order to receive the weekly and monthly kind of not salaries, but what do you call it?
stipends, is that the right word?
Stipends, allowance. That's the word.
Allowances.
So in order to receive that, you had to be pursuing a
Mhm,
business degree. So I mean, nothing, nothing too aggressive. But we're talking about an $18 million estate.
yeah,
So this is a lot of money. And what the jury ended up finding, it was that the 2014 version that we just showed you with the
right,
handwritten scribble that was not witnessed or notarized was in fact going to be the
yeah.
controlling document. And personally, I'm glad to hear that because you know
Yeah,
what? If there's some little like administrative step or technicality that wasn't satisfied, I want my last wishes to
right,
be respective. It's my $18 million.
right.
Do as I ask,
I think it just
alive
gets
or not.
Yeah, I think it just gets kind of difficult, and where it comes into question is just obviously state of mind when people are doing it. I think that's how the family looks at it. But then at the same point, that's what they wanted to do. I mean, if they were into, you know what I mean? Like if they were, I don't know. But that is helpful, and just a reminder to everybody, make sure that you have a will. I have a will. I hope on knock on wood, I don't die anytime soon, but like I made sure I got that kind of taken care of. Um, and
That's
just
right.
something to do,
So
yeah,
so one of the siblings, KLF Franklin, he's going to inherit a larger portion of Franklin's personal property. This includes a home in Bluefield Hills, as well as her personal vehicles, and also just express relief and satisfaction, saying that this has been a very long, hard road. And, so for my family and my children, we're just very happy to have kind of a conclusion. So, yeah, when it comes to just kind of having your affairs in order, no one likes to think about this stuff, but I mean, even me as like an entertainment attorney with my law firm, we absolutely do estate stuff because
yeah,
entertainers, when it comes to ownership of your intellectual property and what happens with the revenues from your contracts, like all of that
yeah,
has to absolutely be put to paper. So we do that for them as well. So please get your estate paperwork in order. All
yeah. That
right.
kale. I was watching a video of Aretha Franklin yesterday when I was getting stuff for the show, and I saw this thing where she was on an interview like a long time ago, and her son Kale, who has the control of, the Rose running the state, and then he actually got, like, I think the house or something too, one of the houses.
I am.
Um, but he was just like a little boy, like, when he was calling in, he was like his mom was on, like, a talk show, and he called in as, like, the
Oh.
secret caller. It was just like, I mean, he must have been, like, 6 or 7. It was pretty cute. It was pretty funny.
All right. So why don't let's just keep chatting.
Yeah.
Let me see. All right, so you're a big Selena fan. Love Selena.
Do
There's a book that her husband put out. You got her book. You read the
her
book in
book.
like two days. You're a fan. So we
Many T-shirts of Selena.
many
Um,
T-shirts.
I got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And we continue to cover things that come up having to do with, her estate, right? So earnings, use of her name and likeness. And so we have another kind of problem that bubbled up, which involves her father, of course. And so her dad is accusing a cruise company of the unauthorized use of Selena's name and likeness to basically, promote their tribute cruise.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
Yeah, the cumbia cruise that Selena is the queen of cumbia Tejano music, so let's not get it twisted. And the thing of it is, even on the flyers, they were using like the logo. They have tribute bands. The whole thing kind of seems to be wrapped around like Selena, like with just the music that's being played, the songs that are replayed. It's like a cruise that goes like around Long Beach, and for Abraham Quintanilla, like this is something that he's always on top of when people are using Selena's name and likeness,
Yeah.
and he's very vigilant on it. We'll
Yeah,
say.
so he's maintaining that he controls her name, her likeness,
Yep.
all of the things, and he says that this isn't the first time either that this cruise has basically tried to deceive people before. They've done something trying to kind of exploit, Selena's publicity rights,
Well,
and obvious,
and making it look like they got the cosign, which is
right,
what everybody wants to get the cosign from the Quintanilla family.
right. Yeah, weren't we talking about the museum that he still
Yeah,
maintains? Where's that
yeah,
at?
that's in Texas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and it's funny because, like, on the reviews for this museum, I
Yeah,
guess Abraham's maybe not the friendliest fellow, and so people just have some
very. There's a lot of strict rules. There's a
awkward.
lot of strict rules. He's very protective of the legacy.
Yeah,
Understandably, but I think this is just something that after we were kind of talking about this earlier, I kept noticing it just in my feed, just different tribute acts and stuff, and I just wonder where the line is. You know what I mean? Because there's obviously cruises that do like tribute acts. There's you go to shows all the time, and they're saying like, say if there's a tribute to Metallica, like it's for whom the bell tolls. A tribute to Metallica. They still use like the Metallica logo on the flyer. They still, not
right.
that I think that Metallica is co-signing that. So I don't know if it's where necessarily the line is, but just something to keep an eye out on for when you're doing them. Not that he's going after the artists that are tribute acts for Selena. He's just for the cruise company.
Yeah, so if you can't get that cruise in before they get
Well, I heard they already took it.
handled.
They
No,
already
they
took the
already
stuff.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already handling their business, and they're like, no, no, we didn't do anything. So watch out, cruise company. All right, moving on. So, when it comes to being a music producer, a musician, an artist, there are what I would say 5 common mistakes that are made over and over and over. And this can just absolutely have terrible effects. It can make your progress absolutely stagnate and die. I don't know. What's the words I'm looking for?
Yeah, no, I mean it'll kill your momentum. If you're an artist that has been, just grinding and grinding for like 5, 6 years and you still haven't made any kind of headway, this video is for you because you're probably making all of these mistakes on here that you're not, getting it done.
Yeah, in case you didn't get it, I'm gonna start that segment over. Anytime I start a segment and I end somewhere with like you're gonna die, I'm gonna start the segment over. I'm just letting you know. That's not gonna be something that goes up officially on the channel.
What, did they
All right.
die?
So we talk about the death at a different time.
I don't know what's even happening anymore.
All right. Is everyone ready? Everyone needs to just calm down. All right.
Just give me a second. Come on, calm down. Everyone just calm down.
Do I
Everyone take
look
it down a notch.
blurry? I feel like I look blurry or angelic. I'm not sure which one.
I like angelic.
Yes. I'm just an angelic angel today. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Being an independent artist or a producer means you have to navigate all the things in the music business, and you're going to get knocked down and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And in fact, there are 5 that are really important that you know about. So we're going to talk about that in today's video. I'm dedicated to helping you with your music career, with your music business, and I'll even coach you one-on-one. So if you need help, you can absolutely message me on Top Music Attorney, but this is the channel where you get all the free stuff and I'm just going to help you. Okay? So make sure you like the video, leave a comment down below. So number 1, when it comes to like on our list of like 5 top mistakes that artists and music producers are making, I would say the first is that there's a massive failure to embrace alternative streams of revenue, okay? When you focus on, I need to have my streaming revenue come in and this is what's going to support me, you are going to find yourself in a troubled area of life, okay? You can't just rely, first of all, on one revenue stream. Okay, so let's talk about the other types of revenue streams. What do you got?
Well, there's the easy one, t-shirts, merchandise and stuff like that. You have those, your Printfuls and your Teesprings, just different print on demand companies that you can go through. That it's a great way to test out merch. It's a great way. I mean, you don't have to just have t-shirts and hats. I mean, they got towels, they got, cell phone covers. You can do all kinds of things. And while you're thinking about artist career and you're thinking about your branding and stuff, think about things that don't necessarily have anything to do with your artist name. So like if you just have a name, you don't necessarily have to put your artist name on it. Start coming up with little things that incorporate with your brand and new logos. So maybe people that don't even know about your band can also get involved in that too.
Yeah, like fun phrases, right?
Mhm.
So we're brainstorming stuff for like lawyer shirts for you
Yeah.
guys. So it doesn't even have to have my branding on it, but just something kind of sassy and fun that you just would feel cool, where you can do that, sell
Right.
it, make some money. Now, another revenue stream that is very lucrative is through sync licensing. Okay, so if you
Yes.
were to get your music into TV, film, gaming, all the sync licensing stuff, and this is where I go pretty deep with my students,
Right.
just making sure you understand how to do this, right? When to do it, where to do it, all the things, because the sync placements and the amount of money that you can make is crazy. I mean, you could
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
on a low end for like maybe a 3-minute instrumental placement of one of your songs, on the low end, 5 grand. If
Right.
it's for like a movie trailer, 50 grand.
Right.
So, I mean, that's pretty great compared to, well, if you get 1 million streams on Spotify, you might get $1,000.
If
So
if that.
yeah, so making sure that you actually diversify your revenue streams. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is building a very strong email list. Okay, so and I want you to think about this
Mm,
regardless of whether you are
right.
just building kind of your artistry brand for your band, for your, if you're a producer, but for anything you're going to sell, this
Right.
email list is gold. And you might be like, people don't really open emails anymore.
Yes, they
Well,
do.
if you don't want to do email, you can do text messages, but people really do use their emails. And so you want to build it. And the way that you build it is going to be the simple stuff, right?
Yeah.
Make sure you're promoting, like make an email list through your website and then promote it in your stories at least once a week. Don't just set it up on your website and be like, hey, the magical gods of, Google are going to help people find my website and they'll sign up. No, they won't. Please put this in your stories on Instagram and
Yes.
promote it. And then your family, your friends, your fans will sign up. And all of a sudden now you have a collective place where all your warm leads, right, for potential sales, streams, all the things, they're there waiting for you, honey.
Well, and the thing of it is, this is something that's really overlooked, and it's really great that we're talking about this because I had an eye-opening experience a few days ago, when I started getting into our email list. Make sure that you signed up for Miss
Yeah,
Crystal's
that's right.
email list and the Top Music Attorney newsletter as well.
That's right.
Um, but there's services like Aweber that can help you broadcast your emails out and stuff, but they also provide you powerful analytics. And I was expecting, from our email list, like maybe I would have been stoked if like 5% opened an email because I just didn't expect anybody to open it. And those analytics were way closer to about like 35-45% of all the emails that we send out are being opened. There's links that are getting clicked in there. And people, when they're just excited to have their IG followers, what happens when IG goes away? What's going to happen if Threads completely takes over Twitter? I mean, I think it
Yeah.
had like 100 million and whatever, and if that goes away, and your whole outreach was, Twitter,
Yeah.
MySpace is one, Friendster, Vine. Like all these things go away. And if you're relying solely on one thing, one platform, you're screwed. But your email list, you can always control yourself. You have
Yeah.
complete power over your list.
And that's it. Take control of your audience, and you do it through things like email list, or if you do text messaging notifications, that's cool too, but just actually have control of your audience so it's not just reliant on the social media platform. Okay?
Sure.
All right, so moving on. Next, we got to make sure that you are collaborating with complimentary artists, not because they think you're lovely and say nice things to you, but that they
Those are nice
fit
too.
that they fit with your genre, with your
Yeah.
style, and so you guys can cross promote. Okay? If you go with someone, it doesn't even matter how big or small their audience is, but their audience is going to like you because you are like the person they already like. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that you are collabing and then just cross promoting. And then when you do it, please make sure you are a great person to collaborate with. Don't be
Right.
that person where they're like, the other guy posted 3 times like he said he would, and then you forgot to. Like,
Right.
don't do that, man. Like, they're not gonna work with you again, and it can be bad. So, as far as how does this
And
look
take
like?
initiative on that, and take initiative on that. Talk about it with them, with the people that you're collaborating with, like,
Right.
what and if they don't expect that they'll have a plan, like, take charge. Always be trying to give value, and all you can do is they go if you say, "Hey, I think we should totally, post on this day and this day and this," they'll probably be like, "Yeah, totally," like, 'cause I'm already yeah, we have a schedule similar to that or not. Um, but this is another overlooked thing because people get really intimidated by, they see the people in their communities or that are like them as competition rather than allies, and rather than, realizing that, if you're doing a live stream, if they're, and you have those fans on somebody else's live stream, if you're connecting with them, like say you're going live on, even just on IG, just have a conversation with them. Just talk to them. Just go live with another artist because their fan base, if they're on lives, they're into the artist. Like how many lives do you sit on when you're not actually passionate about that artist? I know I don't have time to just sit on someone's live unless I actually care. So like those are exactly who you want to reach. So
Yeah.
start with that before if the just doing a concert or doing something kind of together more like that. Just go live. Just have a conversation with them.
Yeah. Do that. Live togetherness. It's great. All right, so moving on. We're talking about the 5 things, and these are huge mistakes. And because you are now going to make sure you have possession of your audience, you're getting
Yeah.
the email list,
Yep.
you are embracing different revenue streams, which means you're working on it. So I'm talking to one of my students today, and I go, remember that when we're talking about social media and promotion, it always feels very like vanity
Right.
metricsy, okay? And you're like, oh, I just need to blow up and people will love me and my music. Like, that's cool. That's a part of what you need to do, but in a reciprocal kind of way. At the end of the day, are you selling something? If you're not, that's the problem. And that's what we're talking about. Have merch, have things that you're selling. But then there's a point to all the work that you're doing to promote yourself. Because when it comes time to be like, hey, I'm doing a merch drop. Hey, I have a show coming up. Hey, I am, for hire as a music producer. Here are my beats.
Right.
Then you have an audience of any size, even if it's small, that you've already built. So you can then get that sale. So, for anyone who's kind of hesitant on really building their brand, you're thinking short term and you're
Right.
thinking small. And so, in order to expand and now become limitless and that you can get sales, you build your own brand, you have to be hustling and posting your stuff all the time. All right, so moving on. Let's go and talk about engaging in niche communities. A mistake that people,
Yeah.
producers, independent artists make is that they don't go and do this, right? So, meaning, when you identify artists, audiences that kind of align with what you're doing, you got to go network. And this can be something as small as a Facebook group.
Right.
Right. So if you go into a Facebook group and you make friends, and then you made friends with like 20 people who do your genre of music, or even today in literally our Facebook group, which is on Top Music Attorney Facebook page, please go join if you are anywhere in the music industry. But someone's looking for someone to hire, and he was talking about he has this song that he's doing, he demoed it out, so now he needs to find a producer to kind of polish it up, remake some stuff. And so great.
For hire. He's not
Yeah,
looking
work.
to pay. He's looking
Yeah.
to hire somebody.
Yeah, so if you are in one of these groups and now you have a guy who's like, "Hey, cool, I got $500. Hey, cool, I got $1,500 or whatever." There's a sale, and you got it because you were just in the group. So anyway, But with niche communities, more about like promoting yourself, finding those dedicated fans, you have to go and kind of make it worthwhile for yourself by investing the time, and that will result in a lot of organic growth.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, it's things like Reddit communities. You mentioned Facebook groups, just commenting on like, just other bands' posts and just, but the thing of it is, for all these things, we're talking about making money because this is the music business, right? Um, do it with authenticity. Like, don't just make products that are just for the sake of make products. Like, they need to be on brand with what you're doing. Like, you're trying to create a long-term fans and people that will continue to buy your products or continue to stream your music. They'll expect a certain kind of quality and a certain kind of, whatever it is that you're putting behind whatever it is that you do. So just keep that in mind too, just to make sure that it's all, meaningful stuff that you're doing.
That's right. And then when it comes to number 5, you're going to love this one, but you're going to make sure to like this video and leave a comment because it helps us with the
For sure.
algorithmic. I said that word, not
I
great, but I
like it.
said it. Gods. And I appreciate you. All right. So number 5 is you're not exploring micro influencer partnerships. Okay. So again, if you have someone who's maybe not even into music, but it's somehow kind of related with what you're doing, maybe they have a podcast, right? Maybe they have some kind of show that you could be on, but they have a smaller community, but that community loves them, right?
Right.
There's engagement with their posts. There's, you can just see it. That still is worth your time to
Absolutely.
go and collaborate or even literally pay that person to give you a shout out. You know what I'm saying? Pay them $20 or whatever. So if you go and explore more of these micro influencer partnerships, don't go for the big guys. The big
Yeah.
guys who have millions of followers, A, they're probably going to ignore you. B, they're going to charge you too much. And C, I don't even know what. Don't do it. So if you go with someone who's a little bit smaller, you're going to get the love.
No, for sure. And listen, and that's, that goes to when you're even going through collaborations and stuff like that. Um, you really want to come up niche style. Like, you want because everything is built around, you're building all these things we're talking about are also have to do with building relationships. You're building relationships to collaborators. You're building relationships with audiences. You're building kind of like, a trust and stuff like that. So, with these things, you're looking for people that are going to kind of grow with you too. And these smaller niche kind of people or whatever, their fans are dedicated, they're into it. And you're going to have people that are way more invested into you in the long run than just blowing it out and just getting a bunch of superficial fans. Those are great for vanity numbers. Those are great for, I'll listen to your song once or twice. Check your Spotify for audio or for artists and look at how many times your listeners are going back to that song. Your
Mm.
analytics will tell you that too. So you're creating a relationship. You want them to be around for the long term and on your journey.
That's right. And it is a journey, guys. So as you're going through this, we're talking about the things that you do or don't do that can be disastrous because what happens is that you wake up 5 years down the road, you've been doing a lot of great things. You've built social media platforms, and then a platform completely goes away.
Yeah.
And you didn't take control of your audience by getting that email list, right? You never had, maybe grew because you weren't posting, you weren't collaborating, you weren't reaching out, you weren't doing these little micro tasks to otherwise have big results and impact on your career. So you can absolutely do all these things. If you want to work with me, you can apply in the link down below. I think you guys are amazing. You're doing great. Keep watching these free videos. Get your reps in. Learn your stuff. I'm here to help you, and we will see you on the next one. All right. So someone had said they want you to go on a rant. They're like, come back. We need the AI.
I'm telling you, like it's not even just so much. And even with my discussion about it in politics, it's not even like from a political standpoint. Like, I'm not getting into the whole political thing. I'm just talking about just how, like, and just writing press releases and writing just, just whatever. People are utilizing AI for things to make things better. So like, just I don't know, just any kind of thing like that. So that's more of just what I was talking about, just the effect of it and how we don't really know the full links of it, because it's only been like a few months since it's been really available to the public. So we don't know the depths of where it's going to be in a year from now.
That's right. Where it's gonna be, we're gonna develop our own apps. We're gonna get some shares. We're gonna get some back end points. You might as well just join.
There's no,
right?
and I'll tell you what, there's no
Don't
point in
fight
you
it.
fighting it. You can't, it's here. It's here. And like, the thing of it is, it's like, I was kind of saying before, like even if they get some kind of regulation, the actual the software and the stuff has actually been created. And I even speculated on when we were talking about music rights is, because they don't really have laws for AI yet. And so what if at some point, right? Because we're always talking about if AI will ever reach consciousness and be like really be self-aware in a way that maybe at some point, because it's creating art, and when these art laws come, that maybe it'll give AI rights because it's you'll be slowly becoming self-aware, or it's becoming crazy things, and maybe that's how they'll be recognized as a person. Like we don't know where it's going to go, but these laws are crazy. And I think that art, music, the stuff that you're seeing is because it's what's actually shaping the world and our cultures and stuff, and how we kind of behave and what we tie ourselves to, and how AI is being making more music, how it's, I saw an AI movie that was completely written and shot
Right.
with AI. And we're at the beginning stages, and it's going to be crazy because this is here. It's here. It's been here. It's been developed for many, many tens and 20s of years. So
All right. On that note, we're gonna
rabbit
kick you
hole.
out. We're gonna kick you out, and we'll get back into the rabbit hole next week.
Very good.
There we go. All right, guys. So that's all the things we've covered a lot this show. So I didn't get enough feedback. So I'm gonna ask you guys again. Let me know if for next week. I think I'm gonna bring him in right away because I really, this is a conversation, and we do intentionally break it up into segments so we can cut them out as videos for later and stuff like that. But the beginning of the show is the place where I'm doing the most like I don't know. Welcome. It's the most like show feeling, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I had this feeling that I wanted to just try and do more of a conversation right out the gate. I don't know if you guys are gonna like it, but we'll do it. So TMA, make sure you come and follow on Top Music Attorney and to see all the things. I've been doing a better job of not keeping it all 100% educational. I want to give you guys a ton of value and just teach you what you need to know in little 30-second clips. But I do a lot more viral kind of content that's meant to be like fun and entertaining. So anyway, make sure you're following so you don't miss any of my nonsense. If you want to just get the hard learning and you're better with just listening, we do have the podcast. So find that on Spotify, Top Music Attorney, and then you can just listen. And it's just only the music business stuff. So you'll definitely dig that. And also we have the merch. All right. So look at this. Look at this. Hey, if you want a Top Music Attorney mug, you could be a rock star. So go get some merch, take a peek. And I think we talked a lot about merch. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're saying. I don't know. I'm getting messages about merch. I cannot focus on the messages and also talk to the people. So I don't know what's happening right here. But anyway, earlier in the show I mentioned with the school, if you do want to apply, if you want to work with me, please do. That link is down below, or you can just go to topmusicattorney.com and apply for the school. And last but not least, we're going to be shooting a music video tomorrow, and I'm going to be melting slowly but surely. And I'm excited to report back to you on how it goes. So we'll see about that. But in the meantime, if you want to listen to some Miss Crystal music, I'm everywhere, as I should be. So, are we gonna watch a video? I don't know. I normally play a video. Are we gonna watch a video, Mr. Producer? He normally gives me a list. He's like, here's your choices of videos today. What do you wanna listen to? We have Something in the Way and A Dream is a Wish. I'll tell you what, let's watch the Cinderella video because why not? We were talking about it. This is my new song. This is the new video. I'll be in the chat hanging out with you guys as we watch the video. I hope everyone has a fantastic week. Stay fierce, stay fabulous, and I will see you next week, same time, 5 p.m. PST Thursdays. I'll see you guys then. Bye. A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams you will lose your heartaches. Whatever you wish for, you keep. Have faith in your
Hot to